We got Comedy Central, the All Laughing channel. We don't have another channel devoted just to an emotion, do we? Well, Lifetime, the All Crying channel, but...
You know, I don't mind being the designated driver for my friends once in a while, but if you're touring with certain comedians and you tell them you have a car, watch out. Yeah, I've made the mistake of doing that, and I end up wasting a lot of my time. Of those times, I was touring the South once with another comedian who had flown in for the gig, so he didn't have a car. Yeah, we didn't know each other, but we had 7 days of traveling around to different cities. He asked me if he could ride with me instead of renting a car. So I said, sure. Now, I'm an early riser and I like getting places early. We had a couple 100 miles between gigs each day, so after the first show that night, I told him to meet me at my car at 8 a.m. and we could start heading over to the next gig. It was several hours' drive and I wanted to get there in time to take a quick nap. Well, the next morning, he shows up 8:30-ish. Yeah, I was pissed. I'd been waiting for half an hour, which doesn't sound like a lot, but I wanted to get on the road. Plus, he acted like it wasn't a big deal. When he got in my car, I turned to him and said, you know, if you want to ride in the future, be here on time. My car is leaving at 8 a.m., and I am not waiting. I guess I said it so meanly that he got the message. He was never late again, and we actually had a really fun week-long tour. I was at another club years later, and on the first night, the headliner found out that I had a car. Well, that was all it took to have him latch on to me. He didn't have a car, so he asked if he could have a ride back to the hotel that night. I said sure. Then, after the show, he proceeded to drink with the waitstaff at the club for hours. I was nice, and I waited and waited and waited. Yeah, the next night, same thing. I think he liked to take advantage of the free beer at the club. By the third night, though, I was really tired of hanging out for hours after the show. I mean, I like to hang out a little, but not 3 or 4 hours. I said, hey, I'll give you a ride, but I'm leaving right after the show. He said, okay, that's fine. And sure enough, we left after the show. But on the way to the hotel, he asked if we could stop at a store so he could get some beer. We did, and he ended up buying a case of beer. I thought, great, that'll last him a week. But the next night we stopped again so he could get more beer. This guy could drink. I've had this happen with several comics over the years. Yeah, one guy was so upset to leave the club and all the free beer that he filled his pockets with club beer. And he was kind of a big-name comic. Every night he stuffed his pockets as we were leaving, and then he would run out to the car. Yeah, no wonder some of the clubs went out of business. Now, despite feeling that I was being taken advantage of, I always liked having my car with me because I didn't want to depend on anyone for a ride. Yeah, one of the few times I didn't have a car, and it was before Uber or Lyft were around, I had to rely on the club owner, and he liked to party after the show. I sat in the lounge of the club with him and the staff until about 4 a.m. one night, waiting on him to take me to the hotel. I had a couple beers, but by 4 a.m. I was tired. I had my head on the table and was just trying to stay awake. When we finally got to the hotel, he asked if I wanted him to come up to my room. Seriously? I was asleep on the table. I don't want to have anything to do with him. I never worked that club again, but that's okay. The takeaway tip from this is, even though your job is fun, like a comedian, it's also a business, so don't rely on others. And if someone is relying on you, put down the rules first. This way you won't be taken advantage of because some people don't get it, and they push and push until you get mad. And it's really not their fault if you don't say something. That's it for this episode. Thanks for listening. Feel free to check out my website, theworklady.com. This is Jan. Take care and enjoy your journey.